Hi, I'm Jerry Almonte.
I'm Bobby White.
Nina Gilkenson.
And this is A Word on Swing. Why you want to do ILEC?
Oh, for me, I mean, there's still some parts of ILHC that I'm really into that we haven't realized yet. Like, there's a lot of things that I want to do that just haven't happened yet because things cost so much money, and we can only run a dance event for free for so long. You know what I mean? Or at a deficit. Like, you can only pour that much like time and love into something for so long before you actually need a little bit in return, just so that you can like realize bigger goals. Like I've never. I look forward to the day when this is a thing, but I've never actually thought about ILHC as like a real money-making thing for me. For me, my main goal with ILHC is to give people a place for them to compete and show all of the stuff they've accomplished when they're dancing, like whatever their journey is in dancing, like to be able to show that in kind of an environment that they deserve. You know what I mean? So not nearly as big as I want, but money prizes, I want them to be much, much bigger. Yeah. And that's one of the goals for that I think is a really important one. Is I would love it if, especially for the big contests, the ones I consider big contests, like Showcase and Classic and Team, like the ones that you work the hardest on, in whatever way that you do. I would love it if the people that win that could make a month's salary from that. You know what I mean? Like sometimes people spend 8 months on a showcase, and then they win, and they each win $500, which is money, and that's great. But like you spent 8 months on this, it would be nice, and I think it'd be interesting too, because it might pull other things out of people. If there's a $5,000 first place, guarantee people would do really interesting things.
Might compete.
Yeah, I might compete too. I don't know. So that's one of the goals for me. Is I thought that was one of the beginning goals, was just having an event that the community deserved, because they do. The community deserves a lot, and I think a lot of times we don't get what we deserve as a community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're a strong, pretty inclusive, pretty healthy community that, you know, doesn't really have public recognition, like mainstream wise, and the stuff that we do is like good, but it's like kind of weird. And you know, half people in the world don't even know, more than half don't even know what swing dancing is, let alone Lindy Hop. And it's such a cool thing, and it's done so much for so many people, and I think I think it's a community that kind of deserves a little prestige and like a little bit of swankiness. Like, we're a hilarious, funny ragtag team of people as a group, I think. Yeah. But like, you should get money, and you should get a trophy, and you should get a huge pat on the back, and people should be able to watch you on the internet, because it's amazing what these people are accomplishing. And you know, it shouldn't just be like back alley stuff. Not that every other event is like that. I don't think that at all. But like, you know, we deserve it. That's all. And then now that it's kind of grown, it takes on a life of its own at a certain point. Like, it's not just what I want for it. Like, sometimes, like, the event itself kind of demands for things, and then you, as the promoter, notice them, and then you help them grow. Like the kids program. That was not me being like, I wasn't like, you know what we should have a sweet kids program. Like, I mean, I always wanted kids to be competing, because first thing I ever competed in was junior divisions, and I was so glad they were there that I was allowed to do that. And also, like, it was a little less scary to not be competing against adults that had been dancing for 10 years when I was 13. I thought that was really a cool opportunity for me as a kid. And so when Val brought all her kids that 1 year, like, I was just blown away by them. And and I was like, wow, I want to do anything. Like that was amazing, and I want to do anything I can to foster that. Like I want to do anything I can to be part of those kids still dancing. You know, and then we started talking to people, and there are so many groups like that. Not so many. There's a few groups like that with people like Val that are really dedicated to these kids and teaching them, and you know, have in some ways like Val does amazing work all the time.
Yeah.
But she's very selfless in her stuff with those kids. Like, this is not to make her fancier. This is not to like further her career. You know, this doesn't like even make her a ton of money. It's like there's not. I mean, other than the fact that she's helping these kids, there's not really not a lot in it for her, which is awesome. Like that she's like that kind of selfless person. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing I think for ILHC that I'm really, especially this year, I'm really into. And we're big enough now too that we can bring some of the old time dancers, which is really awesome because I've wanted them to be included. But it's hard to, you know, to navigate all that and how much you pay people to exist there and you know that, and like if we do that, what do we have to skimp on, you know? And this year we are able to bring them out, and they're coming in.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
I kind of can't remember what your original question was. Sorry, I was rambling.
Well, I just asked about in general. Now, it's funny that you run an ILHC now because in the past, you know, we talked about this before in the past, like, people actually don't really do all that much.
Competing just scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I've actually never done a clubhouse routine. I've made up two. The world has never seen them. Can't even remember what songs it is. I've competed in divisions that were pro routines without one.
Yeah.
Well, pro-ams. I've been a pro 2 times and done pro-ams. But I don't know, like I like competing. I actually like competing with a team more than I like competing solo. Like kind of the energy that you can build off of, and also in my experience, having 8 ideas is better than one. Even if you all have the same idea, it ends up being a better thing in the end because you have so many different, and you also have people to watch you and be like, oh, that looks dumb, or like, oh, that's nasty, let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, even though I don't love competing a ton, I think it's super important for the scene.
Yeah.
It inspires people to get better. It's also just fun. I mean, like, it's fun, but it inspires people to get better. It also gives people an opportunity to show off stuff that they probably wouldn't show off on a dance floor, on a social floor, like routines and aerials and stuff like that. You know. But also, like, I think it does, at least for me, like, I enjoy watching contests so much. Like, you know, I watch like dog shows and figure skating, and like I think that stuff is really interesting. And like watching people be good at something is actually a super inspiring endeavor. I think. Like, watching people be incredible is really cool. And so, for me, that's what I think competition weekends are about. Is like just being able to showcase stuff that you've been working on and that you're good at.
Yeah.
Or even just like how far you've come from those things. Like, I remember going from like open Jack and Jills to like advanced Jack and Jills and being like, woo, I'm doing it. This is awesome. I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, oh, it's fun.
Something I noted somewhere else is that we had the first invitational level Jack and Jills and Strictly's about like 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
After most of the people that were in those divisions were dancing about 2 or 3 or 4 years at the time. But now it's an interesting dynamic now that you can have people dancing the same amount of time, maybe even twice as long as that time. And now they have like no hope of getting out of the open level because everyone gets good really fast. Everyone can do like some amazing things. But it's interesting because at least there's a good chunk of you that were elected or selected to be in those invitational levels all those many years ago, and you guys are still there.
Yeah.
It's over 10 years later.
You have to wonder how much of that is just because we've been around for a really long time. I have to wonder if anyone actually just checked in how things would change. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if all of a sudden the past was completely wiped away,
yeah,
what would change in contests and what would change in who's in invitational and what would change in who's the fancy teachers now and what would change in who's the inspiration for things. You know, I mean, I'm not even saying, like, I don't have anything in mind. I'm just saying, like, it would be interesting to see. But I think the thing about what you just said about, like, a lot of us got there after, like, 2 or 3 years of dancing versus kind of the evolution of what happens now is that I'm going to shoot myself in the foot here just so we're clear, but I think you can be a real different kind of dancer if you take enough classes to get pretty good, and then you set off on like a mystical alone journey to get better. Versus now, the scene is really geared towards you take classes forever. Yeah. And like people don't really empower themselves to, that's not true, a lot of people do. But I think like kind of masses don't feel the need to empower themselves to learn on their own because there's so many amazing instructors now, right? And well, that's great that there's so many amazing instructors. Like at a certain point, other people can only tell you so much about how your body moves. Yeah. And at a certain point, you got to figure out how your body moves on your own. Because nobody's gonna be able to tell you like, oh yeah, exactly like that, and then you're not. I mean, and even if they can pinpoint stuff, it's not like you're gonna be able to. It's not gonna be as easy for you to start recreating the good things. Yeah. Unless you can actually feel what they're like and you do them on purpose. Yeah. If you accidentally just hit a couple things a couple times and someone's like, yeah, then you're going to be like, oh, they said yeah, and I don't really remember what I was doing, you know. But I know for a lot of us, like, we took some classes, and then we would take classes, you know, at weekends and when fancy people would come to town or just, like, classes from people for specific stuff. But, like, I learned mostly off of videotapes. Yeah. And then after videotapes, after the, like, 13 clips that there are, you know, an accumulative 5 minutes of dancing. Yeah. After that, we just all got together and tried stuff and critiqued each other. And I mean, that's I think how any of us got to be, at least with my group, like any of us got to be good teachers, is we taught ourselves and then we taught each other. Yeah. Like you'd figure something out and you'd be like, guys, check it out. Here's how you make that shape happen. I think I figured it out. And then we'd all work on it and be like, okay, well that looks good but feels like shit. Or like, that feels great, but you look like a turtle or whatever, you know, and then you keep working on it. But I think that like the scene in general doesn't always feel empowered to go off on their own and learn. Yeah. And I think it's because we have such a structure now. Like you can be dancing for 10 years and it's extremely acceptable for you to be in master's classes and like more advanced classes and like learning and paying attention, and that's great. But at a certain point, the only reason you listen to any of those people is because they went out on their own journey to figure something out. Yeah. Like all the teachers that I respect, like they all took some time and were just like, what is going on? And then they reached something and then they had something to tell people, which is cool. But if we all just did that, we'd all have so many things to say and that would be so awesome. Yeah.
I just think it's very interesting to look at you and Naomi now. And if I told, I can't tell a beginner dancer or someone who's been dancing like a couple of years and say, hey, those two start together, would not see it at all.
No, yeah.
But, you know, I could look out into an open Jack and Jill of like 100 dancers and not see that much variation. Yeah. In the field. Yeah. Which is...
Well, and I think that's the thing is that there's a lot of people out there that are a little bit less interested about becoming the best them. A lot of people are really interested in becoming this ideal. But I don't know I'm not actually sure, I'm still trying to figure out what this ideal is. Yeah. But it's like I feel like it's like some weird 8-armed, like, Lindy god that I don't understand. But, you know, everybody's like, okay, I'm taking this from this person, this from this person, this from this person, but you end up just looking like kind of a Frankenstein of people that already happened. And with me, like, I don't even think I'm there, but I tried to think about it instead of thinking about, like, I want to be super good. I just, like, I want to be better than I was a month ago.
Yeah.
In whatever way. Like, I want to be a better teacher than I was a month ago or a year ago. I want to be a better dancer, possibly a better follower. That's the one I'm really lacking on, I think. But, like, you know, I'm only going to get to be so good. There is a point where I'm just not going to get better.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And, like, whenever I reach that, that'll happen. And that'll be fine. And then I'll just dance that way for a while, I guess. But, you know, but for me, there's not an ideal. There's just the steps of getting to be as good as I can get.
It's like working, like, putting one foot in front of you.
Yeah.
Rather than looking at
yeah.
distance.
Yeah. I try to not look at the goal, because the goal, I don't even know what the goal looks like. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to imagine a path somewhere that you don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
So, get a little better here, get a little better there. Geek out on some stuff.
That's pretty interesting because every self-help sort of do-it-yourself sort of thing will always tell you, you know, you have a goal in mind. You always aim for something.
You should probably read one of those books.
Maybe that. I mean, you're doing pretty well for yourself here.
Yeah, the question is, if I had a goal, how much better would I be? Oh, snap. No, I don't know. I mean, for me, that's how it works. Like, and I think that's the other thing, is that people got to figure out how they learn.
Yeah.
Because, like, I have to be inspired to learn something, or I'm gonna not give it any effort. Like, I'm not self-motivated enough, I think, to just be like, it's time for dance practice now. Like, I have to be interested in it, or I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put shit out there.
Yeah.
Like this routine I'm doing for Camp Jitterbug in 5 days, for example. I have known I was doing this routine for 3 months, and I picked out a song, and I got like my props. I'm doing like a double veil thing, so 2 veils. And I got all my props. I got my veils dyed. Went and got a costume that I have not made yet, and I just started making this routine up 2 days ago. It's been 3 months, and now I'm all panicked about it. But like, that's kind of how I work.
Yeah.
Like, I'm used to like, I'm gonna learn this, I'm gonna practice it, I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna do it on Friday, and then it's done. And like a little bit of like horrible fear and fire behind me is kind of what I need to get going.
Yeah.
But I tried like 10 times to start this routine, and I just had no inspiration.
Yeah.
I was just doing nothing. So I was like, I'm just gonna wait till I feel it. Sadly, that was 2 days ago. But it's coming along. It's coming along.
Yeah, 5 days.
I got half of it done in 1 day, so I should be able to do another half of it, you know,
in another day.
Friday morning, and then done.
Good props.
Yeah. Oh, good. That'll be good. I mean, the only other thing I would say about ILHC is that I don't even think we're close to done. Like, it might be a long process, but I have high hopes for what we're going to be able to accomplish and what we're going to actually get to. And I think the last 5 years has been any indication it should be pretty awesome. I don't know how long it'll take to get there, and I'm not even sure about what that means, but you know, every year we have a couple new ideas, and they kind of change it a little, and then every year we have a couple new ideas, and then we kind of change it a little, and I think that like we're getting to the point where we're getting in a groove of doing it, and how we do it, and whose job is left. You know, there's 3 of us, right? So what Tina does and what I do, and like also what we excel at, like there are some things that Tina very smartly does not let me touch. And there are some things that I do that like would annoy / bore the shit out of Tina. You know what I mean? And like, so we've kind of found our strengths a little bit, I think. And then we can help each other out in the things that, you know, she can help me get better at being a hard ass with business, right? And I can help her with, I don't know, probably nothing, but I can entertain her while she does work. But I think I foresee good things with ILHC, that's all. I don't feel like we found I don't feel like we're done. I feel like we're just gonna keep trying to make it better until.
You don't see a horizon yet.
No.
A goal.
No, I still don't have a goal, but I just every year I want to make it better than last year.
Yeah. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Makes me look forward to I generally look forward to working on ILHC compared to other events we've worked on in the past.
Yeah.
Where I could not wait for it to be done before the weekend was over. Like I always get to the end of my ILHC like, hey, why don't we do another day of this?
Yeah. Well, like last year, Tina and I were having lunch after ILHC, and I was like, want to start on next year? Like, I actually wanted to start, which was weird. I usually want to be like, I'm tired, which I was also. Also, this last year after ILHC, I drove back here immediately after lunch and started building a floor.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about Mobtown Ballroom.
Okay.
Your latest endeavor.
Yeah, I'm pretty into it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Seems to be going pretty well.
It is. It is going well. I mean, we were very lucky because we got, I don't know the appropriate way to say this, kind of got handed a scene.
Yeah.
So Summer and Dory had a really awesome thing going up here, but they just are busy. Like and it got to a point where they were like, this is too much for us. We do not have the time that this thing deserves.
Yeah.
And by that point, Michael and I had already started doing a lot of work. Like, we were teaching the classes, and Michael was attending every single dance and teaching all the drop-ins and doing all that stuff. And then, finally we we're like, we just need a home. Like, we're renting 3 subpar spaces a week, and they're all over the place, and they're like nothing is centrally located, and it's just whatever. And we have all these students and all of this energy, and if we could funnel the money that we're already spending in rent to these other places into an actual central place where we have it 7 days a week, we could really do a lot with that. And so that was kind of I've always also wanted to own a ballroom, so that was another secret part that I just wanted to make. But yeah, I mean, we were lucky because we had the students, and we had the energy, and we had the community, and we had the people, and so, the first thing that people said to us when we told them we were going to open a ballroom was, what can I do to help? Like, how can I be involved in this? What do you need?
Yeah.
Do you just need me to bring you coffee? Do you want me to do hard labor? Do you need me to take your dog out while you're working on the floor for 18 hours a day? Like, all those things. So, do you need money? Like, people were astonishing with their niceties. Baltimore is a really great community, and they needed the home.
Yeah. How much is that? How much do you think you attribute that to? That being this being Lindy Hoppers and this being Baltimore, is it a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of both. I mean, the Lindy Hop scene in itself. Like, how many events are there that are run with 0 volunteers? None.
Yeah.
There are none.
Yeah.
This whole scene runs on volunteers and runs on community. With some backers, you know what I mean? Like, you get the people that are willing to take the hit, and you get the people to help.
Yeah.
And you put up a shower curtain and you have play, you know what I mean? Like, funny. But I mean, I think Baltimore in itself is a city where we're kind of underdogs up here.
Yeah.
It's a city that's lost 45% of its population in the past 15 years, something like that. And shows like Homicide and The Wire don't do great publicity other than making you feel really street.
Yeah. That's right.
They don't do great publicity for the city. But Baltimore's cool because it's one of the few places I've been that you can actually still put your little flag somewhere and stake out who you are.
Yeah.
In most places you go somewhere and there's a scene for everything, and you can fit yourself into someone else's scene, or whatever, and then you're just part of that scene, and that's how that is. But here you can still do stuff. You can be I'm going to open a ballroom, and then you do, or you can be I'm going to do this art installation, and then you do, and people really, I'm going to start a band and all of a sudden be a personality. People still have kind of the ability to really make something happen here. Yeah. And so I think that's just the way everybody thinks. That's the way a lot of people think about it. So when we said we were going to start something, they were like, let me help you start a thing. That sounds great. It's going to be our thing, And so it is kind of, our scene without our volunteers, we could not have opened that ballroom in time.
Yeah.
We had, and hell, let alone our dancers. We also had my across the street neighbor Remington was there.
Angel. Sure.
He looks just like Angel from Buffalo. Remington was there from, for 10 to 12 hours a day with me because Michael was at work. That was when Michael had a day job.
Yeah.
So he was there all day with me, laying floors and leveling things and building stuff. And then Michael would come after work, and I would stay till like midnight. Michael would stay till like 2 or 3, and Remington would often stay with Michael even though he had been there all day with me. He was just into it. He was like, "This is a fun project." But yeah, I think part of it is that it's Lindy Hoppers, but part of it is that we have some really awesome people that are just really committed to like being part of something, which is awesome because I want them.